Chapter 2. A Hero's History. Crethor's father, Busiku, was a just and fair ruler. However, after the war, his reign was tragically cut short by a sudden and unexplained illness. Some whispered poison, but no proof ever came to light. The grief in the Makata tribe was palpable, as the chief's body was laid to rest under the watchful eyes of the deities. Crethor's uncles, rather than following tradition, neglected their duties. Their disregard sent Crethor and his mother, Muzima, into poverty. It was during these difficult times that his mother instilled in him the values that would shape his character. Muzima, left with nothing more than a small shack of weather-beaten wooden planks and a patch of infertile land, struggled to make ends meet. Their in-laws, involved in shady dealings, were too immersed in their own wealth to extend a helping hand. Crethor's grit and determination were born from these early trials. Life became even more difficult after they were kicked off the plot of land by their in-laws. One chilly and rain-soaked evening, as they sought refuge under a bridge, Muzima couldn't help but reflect on the past. She knew they needed a miracle to escape their dire situation. The damp, musty air clung to them, making their clothes feel cold and heavy. She turned to Crethor and says,
"I'm sorry."
Crethor responds,
"Sorry? For what?"
"We shouldn't be living like this. I feel like I have failed as a mother."
Tears began to well up in her eyes. Crethor replies,
"Please, Mom, don't cry. In a year, I can join the military, and we'll have a place to stay. I promise."
Muzima wiped her tears, looks at him and says,
"Yes, I know you will, my son. It's getting late. Let us see if we can find some food."
her gaze drifting to the trash bins across that had been put out for collection. As they approached the bins, they spotted Mr. Collins approaching them, his face etched with anger. Collins was an imposing being. Fearful of what might happen next, Crethor and Muzima braced themselves for the worst. Crethor's father had always told him to stay away from Collins and that he was a dangerous man. As Mr. Collins drew near, he looked like a demon, but he seemed to undergo a transformation. The anger on his face gave way to a grimace of regret and sorrow. He pauses, then says,
"I've been looking for you too. I heard about what happened, about how you lost your home. What your in-laws did was despicable."
Crethor and his mother exchanged puzzled glances, unsure of what to expect. Mr. Collins continued, his voice heavy with remorse.
"My condolences for what happened to Busiku. We were once close friends. He was a good man and a just ruler. I regret the way our friendship ended. His betrayer will eventually be found, and hopefully the new chief will restore your rights to your properties."
Crethor stands, then replies,
"My father told me not to trust you, and that you were dangerous."
Mr. Collins calmly responds,
"Yes, young prince. There was a time when I was dangerous and a bit reckless, but those days are long gone."
As he spoke, Mr. Collins reached into his bag and pulled out a photo album that was worn and weathered. He handed it to Muzima and says,
"I found this while going through some old belongings. It's not much, but I hope it can help you reconnect with your family's past."
Muzima looks at a few of the photos, then responds,
"Wow, you and Busiku were so young when you joined the military. Thank you for this."
Muzima smiled as she clutched the album close to her heart. Mr. Collins didn't stop there. He handed them some money and offered valuable advice on how to navigate the challenges of homelessness. Crethor and his mother were deeply moved by this unexpected act of kindness. As they continued to huddle under the bridge, they realized that even in the darkest of times, people could find it within themselves to extend compassion and provide a lifeline to those in need. Muzima turns to Crethor and says,
"I want you to know that no condition is permanent, and we are suffering today doesn't mean we would tomorrow. Always make sure you are good to people, no matter the circumstances. Never never pay evil with evil, as no condition is permanent.
In the darkness, the story unfolds, unfolding before our very eyes. With every breath, the tension grows, building up, reaching for the skies. The strings tremble, the hands scream.